But how many people followed Gandhi's philosophy? Not too many. They thought he was a strange cat running around in a bed sheet. One of the brightest men that ever lived. You can look at Mother Teresa, the same thing. You can look at many, many people. But they seem to, in my experience, most people seem to follow the wrong people because they happen to have a surname that, well, I'm not going to start mentioning specific names. And instead of analyzing what these people are and where they came from, what their background is, they take them because they have a name that's been around for 150 years. Big deal. So it's only a name. What have they actually done? Well, I don't want. Well, I've got a particular family in mind.
I have something on that. Every time I see a quote,
yeah,
I ask myself, how did they live? How did they die?
Good.
And a lot of times you could take a quote that makes a lot of sense, and if it's something that's going to really push me out of my regular comfort zone, then I look, how did they live, how did they die? But if it's something that's just, I can take this in, I don't care who said this, I can take this in, this is a good quote.
Yeah.
But we are all, and this is real hard to see in this world, including when I look at myself, we are all evolutions of Einstein. We are all evolutions of Gandhi. We are this evolution, but we don't see it. They said these things so we'd find our own magic. They didn't find it just by reading, they found it by life experience, along with history and literature. Life experience adding to that.
Why don't they see it though? You know, you can't see the trees for the forest.
Most people want to be asleep and follow the flock.
They're like lemmings. You know what lemmings are?
I will know now.
Well, they're little creatures that run off cliffs following the leader without any thought to it at all. That's what we've got running around this country, lemmings. They follow some prophet, whatever you want to call it, and they never investigate the person or anything else. If we took the best of the Einsteins and the Gandhis and all the world's great philosophers, Descartes, Thomas Aquinas and Thomas More, all that, we would be a better civilization. If we followed the teaching of Jesus Christ, we would be a great universe. But we don't. We profess that we do, but that's a lot of bunk. Oh, yes, Jesus. He said, well, then how come we don't live? The rules that he set down for mankind are the simplest in the world. The 10 Commandments are simple to follow, but how many of us follow them? Why don't we follow them? Because they infringe on our freedoms. So we do something else, counter to what they say. Thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not this and that and that. Oh, they can't, I don't want to be told what I can and can't do. So they do what they want to do, and usually it's wrong, okay?
Yeah. When I first started to step out of the status quo, I had a lot of teachers that came to me, and they helped me break past a lot of barriers. So I'm not criticizing them. They're saying you have too much stuff in your mind. Here, take this.
Yeah, here's something else for your mind.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, you can't fit my stuff into your mind. Here's some more stuff. And I think it's all about us. It's all about us putting our stamp on everybody's and we're trying to make people fall asleep, and I don't think that, and even though I have some real good ideas, I know a lot of my ideas only work for me, and I know I even have to let go of some of those. I was like, oh, man, I know I said this last week, but I've moved past that. I'm not going to sit there and keep on saying that and living vicariously through that statement that I said and pushing it on people. I've had things that I've said to people, a couple months later, they're living by it and I can't talk them out of it, which is cool. I'm not going to try and push it in there, but it's just like, I kind of, through my experience, came up with that, and now I feel that that's not necessarily the best way to go, and so there's a lot of that going on.
Nobody has all the answers, you know that, don't you? I mean, I think I was a darn good teacher, and I think I didn't just teach what was in the book, I taught about life. And somebody asked me once if I could put down my philosophy. I said, I don't have a philosophy. I do it off the seat of my pants. I do it as if I were a teenager, what would I be looking for? Would I just be looking for words in a novel, in a history book? No, I'd be looking for those words as well as the teacher telling me something that adds to that, an addendum to it, that really is from real life, not from a book, not written from somebody who sits in a studio and writes a book or paints a picture or whatever it happens to be. But you see, I don't think most people really count much on their experience in life. I don't think they look back on it. I mean, I can trace my life back to when I was a little kid, and I know that, listen, I've written a book. I'm not trying to sell it to you either, don't worry about that. It's my memoirs.
We will put that in the link.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm a great, and I don't want to sound theological or religious to you, But I think that in our life, in our life's path, something or someone puts people in our path that influences negatively or positively. In my own life, I had 3 angels. Black guy, 2 white guys. The black guy kicked my can until I went to college, even though he went to school here at State. He couldn't get a job teaching because he was black. That was in the early 50s in San Diego, California. But he knew I wanted to go in college, but I didn't know enough about it. He kicked me till I went to junior college. The next guy was a dean of admissions at USD who let me in on strict probation. Now, you fail, you're out. Got 2 Fs the first semester. Called me and very unceremoniously said, we had a deal. I said, we did. Well, what am I going to do with you? I said, I don't know. Well, you got 2 A's and a B. I'm going to keep you for another semester. 1 more, you're out the gate. There's another angel. The 3rd angel was a guy named George Rose, who taught her, Professor Rose, English department. I worked for him 1 year. I was an aide. He hauled me into his workroom, put me in charge of half the classes he had in senior English, and let me run wild and do whatever I want. That's the way I learned. But if I hadn't been for those 3 guys, I'd probably still be driving that lumber truck. That's what I was doing, driving a lumber truck with the black guy. I was his swamper, he drove. He was my swamper, I drove. All the time he was getting on my case. Why don't you go to college? Finally, in desperation, I said, get off my back, Mac, because I am going to junior college.